Inside Oceanside, the monthly video magazine about the people, places, and events in Oceanside. Welcome to the April edition of Inside Oceanside. This month, Inside Oceanside visits an organic farm, hears tales of African American history, meets San Diego North County Teacher of the Year, welcomes the 1 millionth visitor to Oceanside's Welcome Center, and listens in on poetry readings. Inside Oceanside ventures out to Palma Valley to follow the process of organic farming from the field to Oceanside kitchen tables. Learn about organic farming practices and how Tierra Miguel Farm operates as a community-supported agriculture enterprise.
We're here at Tierra Miguel Farms to learn all about organic farming practices. Can you tell us what is the major difference between organic farming and traditional farming?
Organic farms are dedicated to not using any insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides.
Tierra Miguel Farms in Palma Valley puts organic farming practices to work.
We're an 85-acre farm that produces fruits and vegetables for families in 4 counties: San Diego, Orange, Los Angeles, and the Inland Empire.
Organic farming works with the environment to plant and harvest fruits and vegetables in season and allow insect populations to keep each other in check.
In an organic farm, we believe that there's a place for all the insects, and that the healthiest farm has a balance of insects, good and bad, and they keep themselves in check over time. When something is out of balance, you'll see a population explosion of the problematic insects like aphids. We see what may be considered a problem on some farms as a guide, as a tool to determine whether we're on the right track and whether we are in balance.
Agriculture guidelines determine if soil meets organic farming protocols.
The basic guidelines are that if there was nothing illegal out of the bounds of the organic guidelines used on the property for 3 years prior to your farming it, then you can call it an organic farm. After that 3-year period, there should be sufficient breakdown of those compounds in the soil and on the plants to be able to call it an organic farm. On this farm, the way we prepare for planting time is to make sure there's adequate biological activity in the soil. For us, that's everything. The health of the plant depends on it. The quality of the finished product depends on it. So we focus a lot on that preparation. And we use primarily composts and cover crops in order to do that. And then we put the plants in and stand back. We let them do their thing. This is probably a great example of the way we do things. There's no huge plantings of any one plant, but rather very dense plantings of a bunch of different plants. And this allows us to have an adequate amount of variety and everything picked at peak.
Organic produce has numerous benefits for consumers.
There are always studies coming out about the residual pesticides and fungicides and fertilizers that are in people's bodies. And this all comes really from the food that they eat. The old adage that you are what you eat is really true.
Organic farming practices also benefit the environment.
The soil is not depleted by it, but rather enriched. It encourages the diversity of animals around us.
The farm drops off produce at central delivery sites throughout Southern California for shareholders to pick up. One drop-off site is right here in Oceanside.
It's delivery day for co-op partners, and the Tierra Miguel Farms vehicle is just about to pull up with some fresh fruits and vegetables.
So every 2 weeks I get a box full of produce, and It's going to be anywhere from 12 to, it looks like 12 to about 25 pounds. That's a lot of produce. I like that it's organic, and I like that it's fresh. I like that there's variety, but on a more philosophical level, it's important for me to feel that I'm a little connected to the source of my food.
Tierra Miguel is fundamentally a CSA and an educational facility. CSA is short for Community Supported Agriculture, and as the name implies, it's a way for the larger community to connect to the source of their food. We generally plan for about 350 families. Because of this program, they can actually come to the farm and talk to the farmers and the people working the farm to find out what products are grown here, how to tell a good tomato from a bad tomato. Anything they want to know about organic agriculture, they can come and be a part of it. Essentially, I tell them that it's their farm now, too.
CSA shareholders pay upfront for produce they receive during the year.
By participating in the farming operation and essentially buying your food in advance, you give the farmer some operating capital so that the plants can get put out there, and the risk of the whole operation is shared by the community. The CSA concept is a great educational program. Many people have gotten out of touch about where their food comes from and what's actually involved in the growing of that food. And in the process of growing for the CSA here, we try to educate our shareholders about what has to be undertaken. The processes are very tricky and fraught with possible failures, and it's a miracle that it succeeds as well as it does, really. But it's that awareness that only comes from firsthand experience that our shareholders can have by coming out here. Organic farms are very doable, and in San Diego County specifically, over the last 10 years or so, the tendency has been to have smaller farms and more farmers. They're not doing it because they're going to get wealthy from it, because there certainly isn't that prospect, but just to be able to do it and to sustain themselves in that process through their lives is sufficient reward.
Earth Day was first celebrated on April 22, 1970, and has grown into a worldwide celebration. You can make every day Earth Day. Turn off lights and appliances when you leave a room. Cut back on heating and air conditioning. Insulate your home, water heater, and pipes, and repair water leaks right away. Learn more ways to celebrate Earth Day online.
Musical storyteller Josiah shares the accomplishments of George Washington Carver through music and song. Find out why the tales of George Washington Carver's endeavors inspire listeners to do great things themselves.
DGWC, Dr. George Washington Carver.
Most libraries request silence, but not this day. Instead, the Oceanside Public Library asked visitors to sing along and participate in a theatrical African-American history lesson.
Music is the most natural connection, and through the music you can transform. There's transformation happening when you engage young people in music. They find out they can do. They find out and learn about unity, teamwork, and much, much more.
Josiah uses music and storytelling to create a portrait of Dr. George Washington Carver's greatest accomplishments.
George Washington Carver was no ordinary man. He turned evil into good. He turned hatred into love. He turned despair into hope. He devoted his entire life, to helping not only his people, but all people of the world. So this history is about looking backwards and seeing your mistakes and victories and struggles and your aspirations, your goals, and all the experiences. And from that, you take it into the future and mold it into something more powerful and more beautiful.
Local artist Khalid Josiah Abdullah has 20 years of musical experience, including writing his own music. He uses his guitar and a drummer to keep the audience entertained and focused on the lecture.
A man of peace, harmony, he walked with love and dignity.
A lesson for children quickly became a lesson for all ages.
I did not realize to what depths his gifts were. He was an artist. He was an artisan. He was a culinary creator. I knew he was into soil sciences, but I didn't know to what depths his creativity went. And he really spanned from the visual and performing arts, music, painting, poetry, through sciences, and there's very few people who actually will explore all those levels. And most people focus in one area, but he did it all, and that to me was amazing.
George Washington Carver epitomizes and embodies the completeness and the uniqueness and the depth and breadth of our humanity. He's the best example of diversity, of creativity, of believing in ourselves, and achievements and accomplishments. He proved that we can do it. Get up, get up, get up.
I think the most important part was that Josiah brought in the children, and he himself said, you have gifts, you have what it takes to be wonderful, to be beautiful, to be good, to be powerful.
When you can inspire children, you can move them forward down the road of progress, down the road of accomplishments. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm happy to see that happening right before my eyes. George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver.
For Inside Oceanside, I'm Crystal Cheshire.
There's plenty of ways to recycle. Taking items to a recycling center is a good start. But you can do a lot more. Take paper goods. Children's drawings can be used to wrap presents. Magazines can be donated to doctors' waiting rooms or given to a friend to read. Junk mail can be used as scrap paper. Cardboard boxes are good containers to store things. There's plenty of ways to recycle all kinds of things.
Meet Freddie Chavarria, former student of Jefferson Middle School and now its assistant principal. Learn how Freddie Chavarria's teachers inspired him and what goals he now sets for middle school students.
Freddie Chavarria played in the tetherball courts of Jefferson Middle School, taught in the classrooms, and now sits in the chair of the assistant principal.
Freddie Chavarria was named 2007 Teacher of the Year by the San Diego County Office of Education. Out of 2,000 applicants, 49 finalists were chosen, in which only 5 teachers were selected as winners. Freddie Chavarria is the first Oceanside educator to win this award since 1988.
I would tell my students, you know what, this is my priority. You're my priority. Your education is my priority. And I expect you, when you're in my classroom, I expect education to be your priority as well. My focus was always just, you know what, I need to teach you, you need to learn when you're in my classroom. I think the biggest thing is that I always worked really hard for my students because I was in their shoes.
Freddie Chavarria had an unlikely start before he became San Diego North County Teacher of the Year and later Assistant Principal of Jefferson Middle School. Chavarria did not get top grades in school. One experience that changed his outlook on education was when his high school teacher sat him down, showed him his grades, and told him he could do better.
Ran across all the grades and said, look, when you turn something in, you get an A. When you don't, you get an F. And look at all those F's because you don't bother to turn in your work. So you should have an A in this class, but you have a D. And so that experience, I mean, to me, I remember that because it wasn't negative. It was just eye-opening for me, you know. He took an interest.
As a first-year teacher, Freddie Chavarria once more turned to his high school teachers for inspiration.
And it's funny, you know, after I got my first teaching job, during Christmas break, I was working in LA. I came back and I was really struggling, and I was I was contemplating. I was like trying to figure out a way of quitting. You know, I was having a rough time, and I went to Mr. Berra and I said, look, I'm struggling. I don't know what to do. And so he just sat me down, kind of calmed me down, and told me about his experiences. And I left his house. He gave me about 5 binders of resources that, hey, you know, these are stuff that I've accumulated over the years, and most of the stuff I made, you can use it, give it back to me when you're ready at the end of the year or whenever you can. And I said, okay. And so that little pep talk was kind of kept me going because I was trying to figure out a way out.
By the end of his first year teaching, Freddie Chavarria found an authentic way to reach the hearts and minds of his students.
I did whatever I could to help those students, whether it was calling home, reading when I was usually taking classes through master's courses and things like that. So I would look through the literature and through my textbooks at things when things came up about maybe this kid wasn't learning, maybe they had special needs, or I talked to a special ed teacher, and I went above and beyond just to help my students so that they were successful.
Well, he taught us that it doesn't matter where we come from and we could do anything we want. The main thing that I learned from him was not to give up. Because even though he had low grades and he said that he wasn't gonna go to college, still he became to be a great teacher and assistant principal. And not being just a teacher, he helps you with your problems. Like an assistant principal, he helps you not as a teacher but as a friend.
What have I learned from him? That it's important to touch all the kids, even the quiet kids. His background really always is in the back of my mind, that kids, it's easy to teach the kids that are here, and here I am, call on me. But he's one of the kids that went through school that wasn't, here I am, call on me. And you have to remember you're teaching all the kids, not just the ones that are really excited to be there and that want to learn. I want to be here and say, you know, these kids, the staff here, this is a great school. And I want to be part of that. And whatever I can do to ensure that parents in the community, they know that this is a great school, and the kids here can do amazing things, and they could go to amazing places, and they could go to UC schools and Ivy League schools, and that's what I'm here for. That I think my goal is it's just to show that students here can be successful, and whatever I can do to support students and staff, that's what I'm going to do.
Oceanside is home to more than 170,000 people and a vacation destination for over 1 million. Watch the Welcome Center greet its millionth visitor and learn which local attractions visitors can't wait to see.
With Oceanside's miles of sandy beaches, historic hotspots, and perfect Southern California weather, it's no surprise that people have been making Oceanside their vacation destination of choice. KOCT is at the Oceanside Visitor Center here to welcome the 1 millionth visitor. Let's go inside and see who it is. The balloons are up, cake was ready to be served, and Oceanside locals were waiting for the 1 millionth visitor to arrive.
Jim and Carol Barr from Nebraska. Visiting the City of Oceanside.
What do you hope to see here in Oceanside?
Many of our extended family live in the San Diego area, and we're just headed down to San Diego. We were up Santa Barbara last night.
Anything you want to for sure do while you're in California?
Just enjoy the nice weather since it's so cold at home.
Here's your prize. You won a week stay at the Wyndham Beach Resort.
One of the prizes was donated by the Wyndham Beach Resort in Oceanside.
Well, it really gives us a chance to showcase a different side of what we're doing in California. This is our third property. The other two are right downtown San Diego, the other one in San Francisco. This gives us an opportunity with the beautiful piece of land that you have on the ocean for us to showcase what we think is our most beautiful resort.
The honorary couple cut the cake and talked with locals to get the best advice on places to visit in Oceanside.
What seems to be the most popular spot in Oceanside that people come and want to see?
The pier, the beach, and the harbor, of course.
We have the largest of the California missions, Mission San Luis Rey.
You've got the most beautiful ocean front.
It's the community, the weather, and all the things we have to offer.
We have golf courses in the area, in the region.
Just nice to be here.
The sun's lovely. That's about it, really. It is lovely.
Oceanside was even awarded a proclamation for their accomplishments.
They commend the California Welcome Center Oceanside for outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to area residents, and do hereby declare this day to be California Welcome Center Oceanside Day throughout San Diego County.
The day not only celebrates the visitors, but the overall success of the Oceanside Welcome Center because of its volunteers.
It's exciting to watch the visitors come in, and it's a good feeling to be able to help people find their way around.
Oceanside's Welcome Center is one of only 13 welcome centers in the entire state of California, which is an honor to the city and its citizens.
This is a place that brings a lot of people, and once people come to the center here, studies have shown that in fact people extend their stay, spend more money here because of the center.
It's just really important that we have those kinds of attractions and resources and are a visitor-friendly community so we can keep doing what we're doing and keep bringing those numbers in.
Here with you with the 1 millionth visitor, I'm Elena Gomez reporting for KOCT.
Most of us are familiar with recycling newspapers, aluminum cans, glass and plastic bottles. But do you know there are convenient collection sites for hazardous waste? You can make a difference and help keep our environment clean. Recycling oil from your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or lawnmower helps prevent pollution and conserves energy. So get in the game and start recycling.
As the sun sets over Oceanside Harbor, poets gather at the Flying Bridge restaurant to share poems punctuated with rhyme, rap, and song. Listen in as poets capture life's moments in a stanza.
I would like to begin. We'll go around the room, and like I said, why don't we stick to two poems, that way we can circulate faster. The name came from the fact that they're in this room where you can see the sunset over the harbor over here, and that's really where it came from. They called her number, but she balked when the cowboy tried to lead her in, pulling hard again the reins. We had the fellow with the rap. We had the fellow that sang.
I want a woman.
George and his comedic approach to relationships.
This is Marriage Blocker System version 57.7. I just find it's valuable that I can present and see how people react. But why? Why didn't I get Marriage Blocker 57.8? Better software would have saved me. You learn sometimes from very good poets, and then sometimes you hear others and you say, that sounds just like me and I need to improve.
Rhyme without flinching. Rhyme without remorse. Rhyme to rhyme the rhyming. Nuclear force. IV polyunsaturated.
It's the diversity that keeps it interesting here, and it's that diverse all the time.
The ad described your bright yellow and green, a babbling bird, to be both heard and seen.
She fingers a necklace of pearls at her throat. Her white-haired husband sits opposite her with beautiful posture.
That confidence is my name and coolness is my game, and that I need no one. But don't believe me, please.
And that's what really makes this gathering and this group interesting, is the diversity.
About 3 inches behind my eyes, this is where I am, looking at the mountains, feeling the heat, living against an environment so huge and quiet distills the culture out of your soul until all you can do is be here.
You know, when you think about Oceanside, it's up here next to Camp Pendleton. It's in the corner of the county. It's a very unusual place. It draws together a really diverse group of people, and so I love coming to the Flying Bridge, and hearing something every month different.
Among the dark, shadowy rocks, its oceanic vitality attracts me. Es Chile en el claro amanecer de mis 15 años. Words can be beautiful. They can be like musical notes. Salto ágil, pozas de agua salada en la isla negra nerudiana. Un rojo erizo pulsa viviente. For me, poetry is a lot about rhythm, and in that way it shares with music and it shares with dance.
When you see somebody painting, or you hear somebody playing music, or you see somebody dancing, they're trying to make something that captures that moment of what it's like to be a human being in this time and place. Well, I want everyone to feel my pain. Oh. The nice thing about a jazz trombone is, you know, it's this hilarious instrument, and the melody is improvised as they go along. It reminds me an awful lot of our national policy. It seems as if it's been made up. You know, not that we didn't have a constitution, but we seem to have flown more by signing statements than letting our constitution be our guiding light in the last 8 years. So the trombone just, it felt right.
Oh, I love his poetry. I think he's very musical, and he incorporates jazz. So for me, it's kind of like a fusion that he does between jazz and poetry.
And in WMDs, well, I want a woman who wants to light my fuse. I got those compassionate, conservative blues. Well, leading the world left me so bored. Had to spend all of August 01 in Crawford.
There's so much can be said in a short amount of time, and that's what makes it possible for us to go around the room 2 or 3 times and everybody get their say.
Cerca de la cabaña de Pablo Neruda, me detengo a contemplar.
The doodlings of some gent who could never pay the rent, who had more affairs than Clinton or Don Juan.
Hey, diddle diddle, now do you hear the calling? Don't be tripping on Chicken Little when you see the sky start falling.
I just like to invite everybody to show up and listen, even if you don't want to read poetry, is show up and listen. And we've had people do that and come back the next month with a poem. So try it, you'll like it.
We hope you've enjoyed the April edition of Inside Oceanside. Join us next month when Inside Oceanside goes behind the scenes as performers get ready to share some of their life experiences in the far side of 50. See you then.